Welcome back to Midday. Congressman Roger Williams says that many of the problems facing our nation today could be fixed by getting people back. Earlier this month, Congressman Williams introduced the final piece of legislation in his 7-bill tax reform plan, Jumpstart America. Congressman Williams, kind enough to join us here on Midday to discuss this legislation and a few other hot topics going on around our nation. Congressman, it is a pleasure to have you with us.
It's good to be here. Thank you.
Let's start with that. Your plan to get people back to work. How does Jumpstart America work?
Well, it empowers Americans, which I think is the biggest asset we have. Small business owners, moms and dads. We have an $18 trillion debt right now. It's rising. I think the only way to fix it is to put people back to work again, and that is empower small business to do that. So we talk about Jumpstart America. What we do, we talk about lowering tax rates both corporately, personally. We talk about reducing capital gains and dividends. We talk about only doing away with the inheritance tax, most unfair tax anywhere in the world, and we actually have gotten that passed already out of the House, which has gone to the Senate. We talk about doing things like 100% write-off on fixed assets. So if a family buys a computer, or a business buys a computer, or a business buys a delivery vehicle, or whatever, they can actually write it off the year that they choose to do so, as opposed to scheduling it out. And and cutting payroll tax in half is a big deal for employees, employers. It puts money back in the system and will allow small businesses to make money and hire people and get people off food stamps and put people back to work again.
And you know what you're talking about when it comes to small business. Your family, I mean, you have a history in small business right here in Texas.
Well, I'm a small business guy. I mean, I'm one of the few people actually in Congress who still owns a business. I mean, I'm fighting regulations just like everybody else is. So, you know, we have a family-owned business, been in business 76 years. My daughters now are third generation. They run our business. And so, look, America is a great country. America, the greatest asset, as I said, are Americans. And we need to realize that we're a consumption-driven nation, the more money we have churning in this country, the job opportunities we're going to have.
Makes a big difference. Many Republicans, to switch topics if I may, many Republicans, including yourself, have spoken out against the nuclear deal with Iran, President Obama's nuclear deal. Can enough be done at this point to halt the deal?
Well, I think so. I mean, it's just a bad deal. I mean, when you make a deal with people yelling death to Americans and death to Israel, that's just a real bad start. And we're just turning, we're giving them back $150 billion. We're opening up their banks. We're giving them opportunities to move their nuclear assets around before inspectors come in. It's a bad deal. So I don't believe it'll pass the House. I think it won't pass the Senate. President Obama said he'd veto that. But we'll see what happens. But it's a bad deal, and I think it's Neville Chamberlain all over again.
Let's talk about the presidential race. You've had a big part in a presidential race. You were with George W. Bush back in North Texas in the year 2000. Of course, we're coming up on an election year. Donald Trump is leading the pack as far as the Republican field goes. Is he, as a Republican in Congress, is he hurting the Republican Party?
I don't think so. Look, we have, 17 people running. I personally think they're all better than what the Democrats have to offer. And I think the process will work. Look, Donald Trump is saying things that a lot of people say across America and so forth. So I think that we let the process work, and we'll come up with a nominee that I think will win in November of 2016.
Let's finish with one last thing about Jumpstart America. Can anything be done of this magnitude without a change in the White House?
No, I mean, look, at everything we've talked about today, I'm not naive enough to know that President Obama wouldn't support any of this. In fact, when we passed the inheritance tax out of the House, I got a message back from the White House saying that he would veto that if it got to his desk. But look, I was elected by my district to represent the people of District 25, and quite frankly, small business owners across the country. I need to do the right things that I think will turn America around, regardless of what happens. Let's get the process going, and let's see how it comes out.
Congressman, it's a pleasure to have you. Thank you
very much.
Good to be here.
Thank you.
In for Midday.